Hi guys, I wanted to come on and do a video here, just me without the cards. I wanted to show my face, and I could try to show you my eyes, except I'll probably be squinting. So I'll probably have my sunglasses on. But I wanted to do a video to just kind of talk about the journey and where we're at. And also what I posted yesterday in regards to the healing part of the journey sort of being completed, and now we're moving on to this little like adjustment period. It's a period where we settle into these new energies. It's a period where we're adjusting, we're realigning. And many people are finding themselves realigning to different jobs, realigning to different careers, to different clients, to different partners, to different locations. And we are in the midst of eclipse season still in the Scorpio-Taurus axis that I've talked about in a lot of the videos. Not only do we have a full moon in Aries this month, but then we have at the end of the month, I believe it's October 25th, we have a Scorpio eclipse. So, you know, it's a solar eclipse, but I want to speak to that because it's very significant. Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. Aries sits in what we would call the first house. It's the first house of self, of identity. It's significant in the way in which we see ourselves, in the way in which we present ourselves to the world. It's about, you know, the personality. It's a passionate sign, an impassioned sign, and it's a sign of action and movement. Aries can also be aggressive. So in what areas of your life do you feel that Aries energy, and how you might feel that as we come upon that full moon this month? I'll be doing a report later this month on Patreon to discuss that full moon, and also probably do a video dedicated to that with the cards. But I think it's important that I come on and do some more videos like this, where it's just more of like a coaching video, or just talking about the energies, because sometimes it's too much to keep up with. And sometimes when I'm going through it, I'm not able to process it, and I'm not able to talk about it because, well, recently my voice was literally stripped from me. And even when I wake up in the morning now, I don't really have full use of my voice. So there's some throat chakra activity. You might notice excess sinus drainage, postnasal drip, coughing, throat clearing. You might be noticing those symptoms as we learn to speak the truth. And we also learn to activate and embody that truth, which is what this Aries full moon is going to show us. Then we have the Scorpio eclipse, followed by 2 weeks later, a Taurus eclipse. And these eclipses are in this axis of rebirth and, you know, death and rebirth, death of the former self, death of the former ways, and then a rebirth into something new. So what that something new is kind of remaining to be seen right now. We're not quite sure what that something new is. We don't really know, because we're not necessarily there yet. We're not at that point yet. We've reached a crucial point in the journey where we've healed, and we're flipping exhausted from healing. And, you know, I've read the comments on the post from yesterday. You guys are exhausted from healing. You want that break. And now you just want to be able to integrate what you've learned and what you've been through and what you've endured. I know several of you have asked me, you know, why have you been so sick recently? Well, there's several reasons for that. My healing has been very intense. There's also a situation that I'm currently in that's not the healthiest. And so it's part of the karma. It's part of growing through it. It's part of learning and being able to come out of the other side, understanding why I chose this, understanding why I'm enduring this, and seeing things clearly. You know, for me, it's an opportunity to apply what I've learned over many, many years, and I would assume many lifetimes in a situation, you know, with a particular person, and really seeing how I'm shining differently and I'm reacting or responding differently than I would have in the past. And trusting also that the universe will reveal what needs to be revealed in due time. There's an element at play for me where I've always kind of been prone to respiratory infections. It's just kind of where I get hit, the skin and respiratory infections. And for other people, it's migraines. For other people, it's chronic fatigue. For other people, you know, it might be, I don't know, I'm just thinking like it could be a number of ways in which illness or misalignment will show up. And so for me, it tends to show up in the skin and in the lungs. So I'm working with, doctors and also healers to get to the bottom of this, to get to kind of the crux of this. But also I went to an arena, a stadium, where I was in the pit and I was surrounded by hundreds of people in close proximity. So there's also that aspect, but there is an energetic aspect as well. The cough is purging, the cough is healing. You're expunging, you're purging what is unnecessary out. But also, I think when I have the opportunity to fully speak my truth, things will also look different and feel different for me as well. And that will be revealed, in due time. But I want to thank you guys for your support. I want to thank the amazing moderators on this channel. I try to remember to thank the moderators every video. You guys are so important and so absolutely instrumental in the people that are new, that are coming to the channel, or new to this journey, or just now going through the stages of the pining and the longing. And then those of us on the other side of the pining and longing, who have now been through this period in the twin flame journey where you feel like, I don't really know who I am. I don't really know, or not necessarily who I am, but we are going through a major ego death as a society, as a human collective right now. But it's more like, I don't know what this connection is anymore to me. I don't know what this means. I don't know how I feel about this connection or this person or my, so-called counterpart. And so I think it's giving us an opportunity to really, the feminine had to step back, because we were all up in the masculine's business and in their energy, and it didn't give them a chance to breathe. It didn't give the connection a chance to breathe. It didn't give the counterparts a chance to grow individually and separately. And so you see a lot of counterparts being pulled apart and separated, and then you see counterparts coming back together at various times. Some people choose short separations, some people choose long separations, some people choose no physical separation, but somewhat of an emotional separation. It really just depends on what you've chosen for your journey and what's right for you. It's going to look different for everybody because we're different people, we're having different experiences, different karma, different past lives. But ultimately, it comes back or comes down to this journey. The whole purpose of this journey and meeting your counterpart was never about them. It was never about that physical person that you fantasized about or envisioned being with. It's not about the physical union. It's about you growing and you learning. And I want you to think back to when you first met your counterpart, whether it was days ago, hours ago, weeks ago, months ago, years ago, and look at how much you've grown and how much you've changed. Look at your friendship circle, how that might have changed, your job, your location, your appearance, yourself, and how you have evolved into this higher version of yourself. And I don't think we're quite there yet to be able to step back and see the full picture, because we're still in the midst of it. We're still coming out of that healing stage, and we're like, is it over yet? And we're kind of bracing ourselves for the next healing wave. And I think we're going to find as we move towards the end of the year and into 2023, yes, indeed, that is for the most part over. And now we get to, again, apply what we've learned and integrate and assimilate and reinvent ourselves. And this is the exciting part. And this is how the eclipse season is assisting us. And what part of you is ready to go so that it can be replaced with a new part, a new segment of your personality, a new aspect of your healing. I really want you to think about what lights you up and what makes you feel excited right now. What are you truly passionate about? That's the direction you want to go in. You want to move towards what you feel passionate about. And a lot of my clients are leaving their corporate jobs right now, and they're going to work for themselves, or they're going to just take a break, or they're going to work part-time. They're selling their homes, they're moving locations, in some way changing their appearance, changing something about themselves or something about their life in a significant way, because they've been changed, and you can no longer continue living the same way you were living, because you're not the same, you're different, and it's being reflected on the outside. And this can be confusing and frustrating, and it can feel like you're failing. And I think it's important that if we're going to fail, that we fail well, that we fail successfully. Allow yourself to fail, allow yourself to stumble, allow yourself to fall, so that when you get up, you don't look at that as a failure. You say, you know what? I have changed, I have grown, and I had to stumble. And I really think we're going to be able to look back on this once we cross over into 2023, even the early stages, early parts of 2023, and recognize that I had to go through that massive separation with my counterpart, because I had to get my ego in check, and I had to heal, and I had to recognize that where I was pointing the finger at the counterpart are really places inside of me that required my attention, required my my steadfastness, required my resolution, so that I didn't continue living that way, or I didn't continue living blindly. There's been a huge call to forgiveness recently, and you guys have seen that come up in the readings, where the theme is forgive self, forgive others, moving forward in a way that's much more conducive to peace than before. And you know, forgiveness doesn't mean you have to accept that person or that situation back into your life. And I also want to talk a little bit about grief, because I mentioned it on one of the posts as I was going through this recent, you know, respiratory illness, and I was thinking long and hard about the grief that we move through, of what we lose on this journey, losing parts of ourself, losing even parts of our personality, losing the counterpart or the soulmate. You know, as I mentioned, I have two brothers. I'm the little sister, I'm the baby, and I have two older brothers, one of which does not have anything to do with the family, has alienated himself from the family, and that has caused a huge hole in my life, in my heart. And you know, there's a journey there, there's a story there of me coming to terms with what that means, of this person who used to be so close to me, and my brother and my best friend and the father of my oldest nephew, who I adore dearly, and his choice not to be in my life. And there's a special bond with a brother and sister, just like there is with a brother and brother, and I'm his only sister, and the impact that that's had on my life, and the grief that we feel when people don't understand this journey, and we can't talk to them about the love that we feel for the counterpart, or the love we feel for the world, or the changes we're going through, and how we feel like we have to keep this to ourselves because we're going to be judged, or simply because what's the point in wasting my breath if people aren't going to understand, and they're going to try to steer me in a different direction. If I can't be myself, then what's the point of even mentioning anything? So I think grief needs to be talked about. I'm a big proponent of mental health on this journey, and not covering things up and pretending to be something you're not. I can't stand when you have, you know, a healer or a coach or someone who's pretending to be okay when they're really not okay. Let's talk about these things. Let's bring it out into the open. Let's talk about how it feels to be on this journey, and to be misunderstood or not understood or not seen or not heard by the counterpart, by your family, by your friends, by your spouse, your current spouse or partner, and what it means to be different, and to be a starseed and a light worker on this planet, and feel like you're an alien, you know, a stranger in a strange land. And it's felt more and more like that the deeper we go into this journey. So you guys are not alone in the grief that you're feeling. It's this painstaking process to get to the core and the root of yourself. And I think sometimes I've been feeling lately, like when I do the readings with the cards, it's not capturing the essence of everything I want to convey or I want to say. So if you're enjoying this kind of video in this capacity, and keep in mind that I don't have a wind filter. I apologize for that. It's going to be noisy. I also I didn't bring anything. I just came to the park and decided last minute that I wanted to do a video here. It was beautiful, beautiful weather, and my favorite park ever, and beautiful sunshine shining down, and beautiful vitamin D, you know, being able to share that with you guys so that you can see the beauty that is Florida, the beauty that is my home state, and sharing that with you. But also, you know, it's a different capacity where you're seeing my face, you're being able to see me as if, you know, I'm sitting across from you, and being able to really share my heart and share so much more that I want to say that I don't necessarily feel like I can always convey when I'm focused on the cards. And I want you guys to know that as I move through this process of shift and change, I'm so grateful for the support that you've shown me, the patience you've shown me, especially over the past several months, as it's been apparent that I'm moving through my own process, my own transformation. And I don't want to hide that. I don't think there's a purpose, or, you know, in doing so. I don't think that would serve any purpose or intention. The intention is to be as authentic as possible, as transparent as possible. My journey has been difficult. My journey has been challenging. And somebody made a comment and asked, why are you still in separation, you know, for years? You're adults, you know, can't you work it out? That's not how this works. We have different contracts for different reasons, and your mission comes first. So you figure out your mission, your purpose, and you live it, and you vibrate in that, and that's when you can experience the physical counterpart, showing up in the physical. It has nothing to do with age. It has nothing to do with maturity. It has nothing to do with humans, anything. It's the physical, it's the soul. It's the soul that you share with the counterpart, and the contract that you've decided on for this lifetime, and divine timing. And there are things that need to be healed and worked on before you can come together, because if you come together prematurely, you're going to encounter those same cycles over and over again, causing you more pain and more heartache, and detracting from your mission and your purpose, and not being able to see clearly or focus because you're fighting with the counterpart, or you're going through cycles of separation and coming back together, and that's causing it's detracting from the work that you're doing. It's detracting from your healing process. So, my counterpart and I have had 2 long-term separations. This one being fully separate, as in no speaking, no reaching out, nothing. And although it's felt like, in ways that I've been totally abandoned by the counterpart, not rejected so much, but abandoned, I've been called deeper into looking into the abandonment issues inside of myself. So whatever your counterpart is triggering within you, I would ask you to look at that at a deeper level and say, what is this triggering within me? And how can I heal this? Okay, I'm triggered by abandonment. I'm triggered by anger. I'm triggered by fear. I'm triggered by sadness or heartbreak, betrayal, rejection. Okay, not good enough. Where can I heal this within myself? It's not about the physical counterpart. They're only showing you how you feel about yourself inside. They're only there to reflect back to you your own healing work and your own growth. And so you can consider it somewhat of a reward when the counterpart comes back in fully and supportive, because it means you're supporting yourself and you're showing up for yourself. I can't stress enough that this journey is not about the counterpart. This journey is not about physical union. This journey, it's not a soulmate connection. Those are different. Soulmates will be with you through thick and thin. They will ride it out for you. When things get tough, they're there. They're the first person you call. They're present. When you have a divine counterpart, when you have literally the other part of your soul in the flesh, they are not there for those purposes. Can they serve that purpose? Absolutely. Could they be present when you really need them to be, when there's a tragedy in your life or something? Absolutely. But if it's premature, it's not going to happen, because it won't serve the higher good of you or the counterpart or your community or your friends or your family or your generational line or the world. This person is literally you. You have to look at the counterpart as you. So if they're rejecting you, where are you rejecting you? If they're abandoning you, where are you abandoning you? You got to save yourself and rescue yourself on this journey, guys. I want to talk more about the karmic partner, because I feel like that's a subject that's sorely misunderstood. And it's been coming back into my, not a kind of vision, but it's been coming back into the energy when I tap into the energy of the counterparts and the masculine, that karmic energy is present right now. And I want to talk about why that is. I want to talk about the triggering that occurs. I want to talk about the purpose of the karmic partner or partners. Sometimes you'll have a masculine who cycles through different partners, and the feminine goes, I don't understand. I'm right here. I'm ready to commit to them. Why are they committing to somebody else? Well, let's have a conversation about that, because it's not all is not as it seems when it comes to the counterpart and it comes to that karmic partner. There's so much more to it. It's so much deeper than that. They have a rejection wound. They know that you will reject them if they're not where they need to be energetically. They know this intuitively. They're very, very wise. They're old beings and souls. They know this. So if they're not ready for you, I'm telling you, I basically had the conversation with my counterpart. It's just our time it's not right now. This is not the time for us to be together. That's a wise soul to say that. That is not, I've never had a partner say that, right? Like a soulmate or a karmic partner. I've never experienced that. And I thought, he definitely knows something. He probably wouldn't even remember saying that, to this day, but he knows something. He knows I have to learn these lessons through these other people, as painful as it is for him, as painful as it was for me. And, so if your counterpart's married, if your counterpart is pursuing another connection, another relationship, that there's a reason for that beyond trying to make you jealous, beyond trying to hurt you intentionally. They have to learn those lessons, and you can't teach them those lessons because you've already been there, done that. You can't go backwards, you know, on this journey. You've learned, you have the medal, you've survived that stage of the journey, that phase of the journey, and you've got the t-shirt, and now it's time for you to move forward. And sometimes a soulmate will be called for the divine feminine because it's time for her to move forward and for her to experience, you know, reciprocal love and partnership. And then sometimes the divine feminine will be single for a long time. People in your life won't understand why you're single. People will ask you, I just had the question today, but two men in my life, why are you still single? I don't understand it. And I can't even begin to try to explain it because it doesn't make sense. You know, so you end up just saying, oh, it's a choice, and, you know, yada, yada, yada. And you have your explanation that you just put forth into the physical world. So people understand and people accept it and stop kind of badgering you about it. But there's more to the story, that there's a purpose, there's a mission here. And would you really want to come together with your counterpart prematurely when they weren't ready, or they were going to cheat, or they were going to lie, or they were going to still be in the throes of addiction? You know, I can look at my soulmate, and I look at that situation and I say, there's still work to be done there. And there's recognition of that because, you know, I've heard it in his words. There's recognition of the addiction. There's recognition of the work to be done, and recognition that I know why I choose what I choose, and I need to work on myself. So they're recognizing this, guys. They're weathering the storm. They're recognizing this. But in the meantime, please do not make that person your center, the center of your world. Make you the center of your world. Make your adventures, your discoveries about yourself the center of your world. I'm going to cut off there. I'm still nursing and nurturing and healing my voice, and it's getting quite windy here. Sorry about the wind noise, guys. I'll try to work with that as much as I can. But this was an impromptu video that I was called to share. And if you'd like a personal reading, if you'd like to work with me for a coaching session, you can check out my website for that information. And if you liked this video, if it was informative, if it assisted you, please just like, subscribe, share. Those are great ways to naturally, organically help the channel and help other people be able to reach this video as well. I wish you well today. I wish you healing. I wish you love. I wish you self-mastery. That's what this is really about. Take care, guys, and I will see you in the next video.